We're on page 385. I'm skipping a few of those details, that's why we're here. We're going to start with Maran. This halakha is important. This chapter of halakha is going to discuss the rule, the halakhic rule of shomea ke'oneh. What does shomea mean?
To watch or guard.
Shomer, that's right.
Or
It's
to
the same word as
listen.
shema. Listen. To listen is the same as oneh. What does oneh mean?
Is that like an array? Oh, no.
To
Oh, no.
answer me.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I know.
If you listen, it's like you're saying. Yes, we're going to discuss that halakha here. And this is more relevant than you might think. And
like a name.
Im hem shnayim. Top of 385. If there are two of them. Or rabim, or there's more than two. Echad mevarech lekulam. One person says hamotzi for everybody. V'davka this is only true V'davka hesebu shu derech keva. And this is only if they are leaning. What does leaning mean?
We do it on Pesach.
Like the way we do on Pesach. Not like people do here. Like that. No, that's not leaning. Leaning is with a nice, and not that, I don't know why people put pillows on their chairs. You lean back, your head against the wall, against something. You drink like a king, like the way that your mother would say, hey, sit up straight. What are you, sitting at the dinner table like that? Like that. Being crooked is not leaning. Must be, Rabbi Pelz always says on Pesach that everybody relies on the opinion that goes against the Maran, that says that you don't have to lean, because the way everybody leans, nobody's actually leaning in halakha.
So we're talking about Passover?
No, we're talking about the regular
So we're talking about leaning.
table.
I'm talking about leaning.
I'll explain. Because when you're leaning together, what does it mean? When you're leaning together, what it tells you is that it tells you that everyone is derech keva. You're establishing a meal together. Obal habayit im bnei beto dehavi kehesebu. It says Rama, quoting the two, that or a host with his guests or his family, because that's considered as if they're leaning together. Meaning, one person can only make hamotzi for you if you are all eating a meal together. How do you know they're eating a meal together? If they're leaning properly. If you come to someone's house and everybody's standing around eating, you go to these events, people's houses, they walk around with plates. They're eating together? No, they're not. In halakha, at least in the olden days, unless you were leaning, it was like you're standing around eating. You're not actually eating together. Says Rama, nowadays, if you're sitting with your family, we already know that you're eating together. But if you're sitting without leaning, says Maran, because they're not establishing themselves together, everybody has to make his own hamotzi. Yeah, so if you're sitting at a table, like we're sitting at a table, Maran says you're not leaning, therefore one person cannot make hamotzi for you.
But you don't typically lean.
Wait, we get that. V'im amru nochal kan o b'makom ploni. But if they say, come, let's eat here at this table, or let's eat in that room, or let's eat, you organize everyone to eat together. Kevan shechinu makom lachilatan, because they've set a place, a designated place to eat. Have a keva. It's considered as if they established a meal together. V'afilu b'lo hasiban. Even if they don't lean, that's considered a meal together. See? V'ha'idna, and nowadays, says Man, she'en anachnu regilim b'hasiban, that we are not used to leaning when we eat. Yeshiva didan b'shulchan echad, the way that we sit around one table, or below shulchan b'mapay echad, or those of us who don't sit at tables, but we sit at one tablecloth. What are you talking about? Who sits without a table with a tablecloth?
On the floor.
Yeah, you sit on the floor, but you have a one tablecloth. All the food is spread on. Yeah, the tablecloth is important. In that case, have a kviut. That's considered establishing yourself. ואפילו לבני חבורה כהסיבה דדהו דמן. That means that even and this is even a group of people that's not a host and his guest. Anybody group of people that says like this, even at the times of the Gemara, this would be considered eating together if they designated a space together, or the way you eat at one table, or you eat at one tablecloth, that's considered eating together. So until now, Maran says, if there's more than one person in Hamotzi, one says Hamotzi for everybody, assuming they're all leaning together. If they're not leaning together, it's not considered that they're eating a meal together. Because nowadays that we don't lean, as long as you designate that place, let's go eat in this table, or you're eating around one table, or you're eating around one tablecloth, all of that is considered as if you're eating together and one person can make a bracha. Uldidan, and nowadays, afilu kav'u makom la'achilatan. Even if you establish a place to eat, you designate a place to eat, or ba'al habayit im bnei beito, or a host is sitting with his, a father of a household is sitting with his family, or a host with his guests, lo mahani, that's not enough. Ela im ken yashvu b'shulchan echad or b'mapay echad. They have to be sitting at one table, or with one tablecloth.
The leaning is because of a social custom,
Correct. That's what tells you.
not from a health reason.
No, that's what tells you if you're, like I mentioned before you came in, people who standing up, walking around. In today's culture, that's not considered sitting at a table and eating. In those days, the people who were not leaning were like what we would consider someone who's standing up and walking around the plate.
So, for example, in a good hotel, and there are three people sitting independently.
That's what we're gonna have to. Yeah.
And I say, Amotzi,
Those three people, right?
they do not.
We're going to have what about like a big Shabbat hall where there are a lot of tables and one person is leading the dinner. Imagine like a Shabbaton at a hotel or something. The Gaon of Vilna says, let me just see here in the notes. The Gaon of Vilna says that a table is only relevant in a house. Because in a house, if people are sitting at the table, and there's one person not sitting at the table, then that person is showing I'm not involved with the table. No, don't get up from the table till you're done eating. You know those people? There's some people, sometimes they come and they eat on the couch, or they eat. I once had guests in the house. They got up, they went outside to eat. Not a restaurant. They go order takeout somewhere else. Gosh, they got up, 6 or 7 people, and they just went to the backyard, set up a table, and ate. Don't worry, it's the last time they were invited. So, and in those kind of situations, in a house when you're not sitting at the table. But if a lot of people are, let's say in a hotel, they also let's eat together. They're just not sitting at one table. According to the Gaon of Vilna, that's okay. What we're gonna have to figure out is if Maran would agree with that. But the Gaon of Vilna says on a logical level, it makes sense that you can include all these people, so long as lo mufuzarin. Echad hena v'echad hena. You know, like one's at that side of the room, one's at that side of the room. That's not sitting together. But if they're together, they're just not at the same table. Gaon of Vilna already seems to find.
Now, many companies have a cafeteria, and they will grab food. Even they sit around table, but everybody with his own universe.
So you might have a different problem. A lot of people sitting at the same table, but nobody has anything to do with each other.
Mm-hmm.
This problem is getting worse, not better.
No, I'm saying that it's a very common
Somebody showed me, it says,
thing about coffee
Yeah.
bean. They have big table in the middle, three people sit, everyone grab his own meal.
yeah, someone said, you want to come over later? I'm having a bunch of friends. We're all going to be sitting around on the couch, texting on our cell phones together. You know, it's,
Yeah,
cool.
Right.
if you like, you're welcome to join us. You know, it's, okay. So what makes sense to halakha is, now we're going to have to really sit down and determine, so what does it mean to be sitting together? That's the details. But the general idea is, people who are sitting together, an established meal together. Maran, the Talmudic definition is leaning. Maran is saying sitting at the same table. Gaon de Vilna is saying designating the same place. But ultimately, we're all trying to define the same thing. People sitting together, one can make a bracha for everybody. People who are not sitting together, everyone is responsible for their own bracha.
This has nothing to do with making a zimun.
Well, it will eventually. We'll get a lot of zimun. This is going to have to do with that also. By the way, just I'm going to add here. There's all kinds of weird minhagim you see in the Jewish community. Isn't it weird?
Really?
Weird. For example,
Swinging chickens.
there's this minhagim that everyone makes their own kiddush.
Yeah,
Oh,
Everyone makes their own hamotzi.
yeah.
in places like
Everyone should make their own meal. You eat it together. You're not eating together. What's happening? What do you mean everyone makes their own kiddush? There's a malabait. There should be one person everyone can agree on can make kiddush, no?
Oh, it used to take
Probably the person who invited
hours.
everybody.
Oh my God, hours before you could eat.
And then what do you see? You see kiddush in the mitzvah. It's a biblical commandment. It's a d'oraita. What happens? The first person makes kiddush, and then his family members who heard his kiddush, they're not listening anymore to the second kiddush. Then the third people are talking already. The fourth people are already, playing games on the floor. The fifth are already going to wash their hands. For a biblical commandment, that's how you're acting. It makes sense. Hamutzi. Everyone makes their own hamutzi. I was at a house where the host makes churros. Hamutzi lechem min haaretz. Then he passed it to Zev before eating. Pass to Zev. Zev says hamutzi lechem min haaretz. Jack comes in. Baruch goes all around the room, and then he gets his challah, he eats it, and then hands it out to everybody else. Aside from violating one of the Ten Commandments, what else are you trying to accomplish?
Everyone
Lack of
should
hygiene.
be zoche in a mitzvah.
Yeah, but making a bracha, you can't make brachot you're not obligated to make. But yesterday I saw a picture, fascinating picture. There was a wedding, I won't say where, not in San Diego. A Hasidim, and it was pouring rain. But what do you mean pouring rain? Not like when it rains in San Diego. Pouring rain like rain, like you're standing outside for 5 minutes, you're gonna get soaked to your socks, like that kind of rain.
In 1
You should
minute.
see, under the chuppah, they insist on doing the chuppah outdoors.
Oh,
Outdoors, all the they wear $5,000 hats. You don't own a $5,000 hat. Special rain gear,
Right.
plastic things covering their strimals.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen those.
Everybody with umbrellas. The water is dripping through the middle of the chuppah. I see it's like you're watching a video. The water is it's a waterfall in the chuppah.
Because of the weight of the water, yeah.
Yeah, no, the
And the
chuppah
guys are holding the
is
poles
like
up like.
and everyone is this and they're dominating a 45-minute chuppah. And you ask yourself, why on earth are you getting married outside? Why are you getting married outside for? Why do you get married outside? Do you know why you get married outside?
Supposed to be under the
Ballistic
stars.
probably.
And never
Supposed to be
forget that
under the
wedding.
stars. Why?
I don't know why you get married outside.
I don't get married
Inside.
outside. I got married inside.
Yeah, well, that's,
Minhag of all the Sfaradim in the whole world is to get married inside.
It was
All of
raining.
them. Everybody. In fact, the minhag of most Sfaradim is to get married inside the synagogue.
Yeah.
If you go to Canada today, to Montreal, to Toronto, if you go to a Spanish Moroccan synagogue. You know what I mean, Spanish Moroccan? Moroccans that didn't get stuck in Israel. They actually know how to be Moroccans. You go there, in the middle of the chuppah, they open up the Ona Kodesh. I was in a chuppah, open up the Ona Kodesh, there's like 28 Sifrei Torah there. And the choir of the Beit Knesset comes and sings special songs that they only sing when there's a wedding in the Beit Knesset. It's an unbelievable experience.
that's Sephardim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Ashkenazim have a different problem. For getting married outside, they're not allowed to get married inside of synagogues.
what?
Not allowed. It's
Minhag?
against their rules. I have
Oh,
minhag
wait,
against it.
wait.
Because it's considered disrespectful for the synagogue. The problem is that in the synagogue today they play poker, they
Yeah,
have movie
I
night,
mean,
they do kiddush,
but
they got.
that is
The
totally
rabbi tells
bizarre.
jokes, so why not a
That's
wedding?
right.
I don't know. I don't know. But you should know that in many places it was the hallmark of Reform and conservative Jewry. They were the only Ashkenazim who did weddings in synagogues.
Yeah, it's true.
Today though,
It is true.
it's already a thing. Like already, I think a lot of places do that. But you should know there were old Roshei Yeshiva. I remember a story of Soloveitchik. He wouldn't go to his student's wedding. Who was Sephardi, by the way, because it was in a synagogue. I wasn't alive then. I would have written a letter informing that the original minhag was to do weddings in a bit knesset. Definitely not outside. So why outside? Now I'll be honest with you. In my wedding, I really was outside. Because the wedding hall was inside, the chuppah was inside, but on top, you see that little square? There was like an opening that opened straight to the sky. It's a compromise
Yeah.
chuppah. So really, we were under the stars, inside of a building.
It was a skylight.
Yeah, but it was open.
Starlight.
Meaning it would rain, we would get wet, but nobody else would get wet. I was in Baltimore for a wedding. It was a fascinating thing. You have to understand, outside it's like 20 degrees. And the chatan and the kala and their parents and the rabbi and the winter coats and scarves and bundled up and they're all standing outside. This wedding hall is brilliant. I don't know who came up with the idea. But there's imagine like we're sitting here and someone's getting married on the porch. There's a glass wall.
It's like the Houston National.
And there's a microphone that broadcasts into the room. So we're all watching the chuppah. We're sitting inside in the heat, and they're standing outside almost an hour for a chuppah. They're walking in circles. They're singing the songs, but it's all outside, and we're sitting inside.
Inside the glass.
It was amazing. We're like in an aquarium. That was the feeling we were in.
The pets in the aquarium.
What's the idea with this minhag? What's so special about standing outside? It's a good luck omen. They bring down Chachmei Ashkenaz. It's good luck. Same reason why people get married on Tuesday. Pamayim, Kito. What happens to get married on Thursday? Nothing. A lot of people got married on Thursday and their marriage is happy. A lot of people got married on Tuesday and they suffer until the end of the life. But there's all kind of good luck omens people have, and one of them is to get married outside, under the stars.
Isn't that superstition?
Just a minhag. It's not even. I wouldn't even. Let's call it a minhag. Let's put it in minhag. Yes, it's a minhag. So now imagine this. In halacha. In halacha, if it's Sukkot, and you have to eat and drink inside of the sukkah, you must sleep inside the sukkah. On which level? On a rabbinic level? A biblical level. It's a biblical commandment to eat, drink, and sleep in the sukkah. Now you're sitting outside, and it starts to rain. How much rain?
Because it's on.
Yeah, let's say it's going to mess up your food. You know, like when someone spills a cup of water in your food? Like that. It rains. It's rain. Are you allowed to stay inside of your sukkah?
No,
You're not supposed to.
You're not allowed to.
Yeah.
You must go inside. Why? What does the Gemara say? Yeah, well, it explains why, because it makes rain, but it says, Kikol hapatur midavar ve'osehu. Anybody who's exempt from a mitzvah and chooses to do it anyways, nikra hediot. It's called an ignoramus. I'm being nice. Hediot sounds much more like what it is.
Stinker in
Yeah.
Spanish.
Meaning, the idea, if you're exempt from something, why are you doing it? You don't have to sit in the sukkah and get wet for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He has other things he would like you to do for him. One of them is not sitting in the sukkah getting wet. So you can imagine with a biblical commandment, you don't have to get wet. For a minhag, not just you, it's you and the 5,000 people in your wedding. It was a big Hasidic wedding. They're all going to stand outside getting wet because of a minhag. What's so special about the minhag? But the thought of getting married indoors is they can't have. They can never get. They move off the wedding to a day where the weather was better. Look, where I got married, there were people who wanted us to get married outside, but it's Brooklyn. It's not La Jolla. You know, where do you get married outside in Brooklyn? I want McDonald Avenue in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
The place you get married outside is literally on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Imagine getting married on Genesee Avenue.
Oh, no.
Yeah, in rush hour.
Yeah.
On the sidewalk. How much room is sidewalk? Like you have a sidewalk here on the street. They set up a chuppah, and everyone crowds around the chuppah, and they do the wedding on the sidewalk, and then they all go inside to this beautiful wedding hall for the rest of the wedding. Because you have to do the chuppah outside. How many weddings I've been to a few weddings already in my wedding hall after I got married. All of them were on the sidewalk.
Oh.
Nobody heard anything. Nobody sees anything. I'm not even sure the chatan and kala heard anything. And then they go inside for the food to this beautiful hall. What does it tell the people about the chuppah? What does it tell people about the food? The chuppah you do on a sidewalk when people are honking and smoking and screaming and shouting. The FedEx truck goes by, Amazon
Pick your pockets.
deliveries, and then you're inside for the food.
Yes, that's what's important.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
That's what you teach people.
Wait, yeah.
That's what you teach a community. The chuppah is the most important part of a wedding. Everything else that happens afterwards is just for fun. They go, I hope the chuppah is not too long. So go somewhere else. You can pay your own dinner. How much are you saving? But go to a restaurant, eat dinner. It's the most important night in a person's life. One of the most important nights in a person's life, depending again who they marry. and that you're gonna try to rush them through. Once we had to rush a chuppah, but the kala was unable to stand. Different story.
What?
Medical issues.
Oh.
Different story. Over there, why'd you do a chuppah so fast? This part I can't tell you. But everybody else who rushes a chuppah for what point? Does it outside for what point? What purpose? Not here in La Jolla. You have beautiful chuppah. I've been here.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Everyone sits down. Everybody's outside. It's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with doing it outside. But in a place where you're on the sidewalk or it's raining, why? I don't know. All kinds of minhagim. Birkat Hamazon. The minhag of one person making a hamotzi for everybody, it exists only if you're eating together. If you're not eating together, it doesn't work. Now we're going to spend our time trying to define what does it mean eating together. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're on page 385. Under the two lines in the middle of the page. When a few people are sitting together to eat, one person can make the blessing of hamotzi. And he can fulfill the obligation for everybody who's listening because of the halakha. Write it down. Shomea ke'oneh. The one who listens is as if the one who said. Seeing is speaking. Hearing is speaking. So if I say a bracha and you're listening to my bracha, and I have in mind to fulfill your obligation, and you have in mind that I'm saying the blessing for you, in that situation, even though you don't say anything, I am saying a bracha for you.
So,
If you say amen, and you hear the
Oh, listen. ובלבד, on condition שיכוון מברך להוציאה מידי חובה, on condition that the one who's making the blessing is he has in mind I'm fulfilling the obligation for you. והשומעים מכוונים לצאת ידי חובה, and those who are listening also have in mind. Sometimes you do kiddush. The guy who's doing kiddush doesn't know what he's doing. So how can he say kiddush for you? He doesn't even know how to do kiddush for himself. Then sometimes there are people who they're listening to your kiddush, but they have no idea what they're supposed to be doing.
yeah.
They're talking to their kids, they're setting a table. You have to be listening to every word as if I'm saying it for you. In that situation, kiddush, hamotzi works for me. If not, not. V'yanu amen achar birchato, and they should answer amen after his blessing. But even if you don't answer amen, says the Rambam, Maran, that amen does not mean you don't fulfill the obligation. You lose out on amen. But if you don't answer amen, you still get the bracha if you had a mind to say the bracha. You wanted to ask.
Yeah, well, if people eat together, one person can make a motzi for everyone, but do they have to make a motzi? In other words,
That is a good question. Yeah, that's the next sentence. Let's do it together.
okay.
You know it's a good question when the halakha talks about it next, right? וכשיושבים כמה בני אדם לאכול ביחד, when a number of people sit down together to eat, נכון יותר שאחד יברך, it's more proper that one should make the blessing, ויוציא את כולם מידי חובה, and everybody will fulfill their obligation with him, ממה שיברך כל אחד לעצמו, instead of everybody making their own blessing. Why? משום, because the pasuk says, and our rabbis learn from here, ברוב עם hadrat melech. With the multitudes of people is the glory of the king. What does it mean? If the king comes to town and there's only one person walking with him, my king is bigger than yours. The king comes to town and there's thousands of people escorting him, it's a different story. When we bless HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the more the merrier. The more people who do something together as one is more respect HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ubevad, and that's also on condition, שיודע המברך לכוון להוציאם, that the mevarech, the blesser, knows how to, he has in mind that I'm saying the bracha for you. והשומעים יודעים לכוון לצאת ידי חובה בשמיעתם מפי המברך, and those who are listening also know. That's why sometimes you'll hear me, every time we speak Birkat Hamazon in public, I say, so and so will say the bracha out loud for you, and you should listen to his blessings and answer amen. I always say that. It doesn't help if you don't do that. You must listen. Now here it's important to know. You should make a rule for yourself, even say it now. You should say, every time that I make a bracha, I take upon myself that I am fulfilling the obligation for whoever listens to my bracha, whether I see them or not. So someone walks into the room and hears your kiddush, they're right outside the door, they jump in, Baruch given. Did you say kiddush for me? If you had in mind that I'm saying kiddush for you, I had in mind you. Make sure every time you make a bracha, you're saying it for everybody who hears your bracha.
Even if they're not in the room, if they're coming in.
Not in the room wouldn't help them, but it should be that, let's say someone's standing behind you, you don't see them, or you should have in mind that it's for everybody that hears you. ובזמן רבותינו well, let's do an interesting footnote. I'm going to do this. This is important. Look in the bottom right column. The brackets say tzadichet. It looks like a lamed in Rashi's script. Tzadichet. You see that? Ayen b'biur halacha. Look in the biur halacha. B'shem ha'ma'adanei Yom Tov. In the name of the book Ma'adanei Yom Tov. Bottom right, 5 lines up. B'shem haramach. In the name of the Ramach. Shadif she'echad yivarech mishum berovam hadat melech. It's proper that one should make a blessing to fulfill this idea of in the multitudes Hashem is glorified. V'chen huvu divrei Ramach b'kesef Mishneh. And Maran quotes these words of the Ramach in the Kesef Mishneh. The origin of this halakha is in brachot. Listen to the story in brachot. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbi is saying. Hayu yoshevim bebet midrash. Everybody was sitting and studying in the Bet Midrash. V'heviu or lifnehem. And they brought a light in front of them. Which kind of light? Candlelight. Which kind of candlelight?
Torch.
Yeah, min hastam, though we're talking about Havdalah, no? Nachon.
Maybe.
I think it's about Havdalah. V'heviu or lifnehem, and someone brought in a candle. Why did they just bring in a random candle? The mitzvah of blessing on the candle does not have to be with a glass of wine. We studied this on Sunday, remember? It could be that when you repeat Havdalah for somebody else, that they should do the blessing of candles and besamim, because you already did yours. And you don't have to do those blessings to do Havdalah. Havdalah is Hagefen and Hamavdil B'Kol Shachor. Everything you add to that is an addition. If you do Havdalah and you don't have a candle now, let's say you're in LA in a hotel, you know you'll be in San Diego before midnight. Then you'll have a Havdalah candle in San Diego. You do Havdalah at your hotel room with wine, besamim, and then you go home and you light a candle and you say, Baruch Hashem, Borei Moresh. You have to learn to separate those things. We do them together, but they're not necessarily done together. So someone brings in a Havdalah candle. Bet Shammai says, Kol echad ve'echad mevarech la'atzmo. Every person should make their own blessing on the candle. Uvet Hillel omrim, and the Bet Hillel says, Echad mevarech lekulam. One person should say the blessing out loud for everybody. Mishum shneimar b'rovam hadat melech, because Bet Hillel says, look, the majority of people bless it, when the multitudes bless it, it's more glorious. V'amu b'Gemara sham, they explain in the Talmud there. Shetamam shel Bet Shammai, shomrim shekol echad mevarech la'atzmo mishum bitul Bet HaMidrash. The reason that Shammai gives for why every person should make his own blessing is so you don't waste time in the Bet HaMidrash.
It's
like you
faster,
always,
yeah. It takes less time until everybody gets
they're
ready.
home.
It's like you always say.
Everyone, attention please, let's all quiet down. You over there, shh, shh, hey, shh. And then you say a blessing, you wasted everybody's time. Just walk around with a candle, and whoever wants will come over with a candle and make a blessing. Don't let everyone take care of themselves.
It's not the halacha of not adding on to the service, so that you're taking people's time for extra
For other things, correct. And here you're something similar. I mean, the time that it will take to organize everyone to answer a bracha, you're right, it will take faster for one person to make the blessing for everybody. But in this case, it's better not to abruptly stop everybody who is studying Torah.
Question.
Yeah.
This is On the whole Shammai Hillel thing, is this trying to imply that there are some people who will just be in the same framework of mind their entire life because Shammai was always like this, Hillel was always like that? Kind of like, it's like, it seems like there's a lack of flexibility here. It's like it's a party line thing. Always strict, and
Yeah, it's
Hillel
like-
is always,
It's like there are archetypes.
yeah.
Very good. That's a good question.
Because it seems like they always come up like this. You never say, oh, in this case, Shammai was more lenient than Hillel. You don't see
If
that.
we were to discuss Bet Hillel and Bet Shammai, we would be here forever. Because there's a lot to talk about Bet Hillel and Bet Shammai. But it's an important question. And just a preliminary, let's throw it out there. We're not talking here about people who toe their company line. If we would think that, yeah, we would always know what Shammai would say, or always what Hillel would say. They surprise us all the time because they're saying things that, though they are consistent with their belief, we wouldn't think that they would have said them. Yeah. I mean, some of the arguments of Hillel and Shammai have nothing to do with being stricter or being more lenient. Some have to do with being more literal and being less literal, like which do you count Tfilat Omer up or do you count it down? Or do you light Hanukkah candles one direction or another direction? Or do you say Shema at nighttime laying in your bed or sitting up in these are the questions that not everything is about strict or lenient. I would venture to say that a lot of the conversation that has to do with Hillel being more open-minded is a very modern Jewish conversation. I'm not certain that I could back that up with the source, but I'm fairly certain that if you start looking for the sources that discuss Hillel positively and Shammai negatively, yeah, you'll find earlier sources that the rabbis praise Hillel more than they praise Shammai, but where it's becomes a thing to be like Hillel, to be like Bet Hillel, is a more modern, from my recollection, a more modern Jewish idea. That doesn't mean it's not true. It just means it was emphasized more lately. Hillel and Shammai are showing you that your worldview does taint the way you approach truth. Both of them are truthful. Hillel and Shammai are both looking for the truth. We don't say that Shammai is wrong. We always say halacha kibet Hillel. The action is according to Hillel. We're always ruling like Hillel. Then Shammai is wrong. It means for whatever reason Shammai's approach has been rejected in the Beit HaMikdash. It means he's wrong? No, his students followed that approach. Were they violators of halakha? Not necessarily. Could they be compelled to follow Hillel? In certain cases, in public instances, yes. There are times we rule like Shammai over Hillel. But I think that what many people don't truly comprehend is that two truth seekers will not always end up in the same place. We're always hoping that people of truth will always be the same. That's not the truth. The thing that truth seekers have in common is that they're truth seekers. That's why they're friends with each other. That's why Hillel and Shammai don't fight with each other. Hillel and Shammai are both seeking truth, and therefore they can work alongside each other while they're agreeing with each other. We always have that all truth leads to the same place. It's not true. It's not true. You look in the world, not all truthful people believe the same or think the same, or even will end up in the same, and I'm not sure we want them all to end in the same place. Can it be that two truth seekers will end up in the same place for different reasons? Yes. It's also a sign that their conclusion may be more truthful. Because if two people from different places and with different methodologies reach the same conclusion, that's a good thing. Not a bad thing. But we are taught, that's what I spoke about on Shabbat the last week, or the week before. Chachamim say that if a Talmid Chacham is not like an angel of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you can't study Torah from him. How great of a Talmid Chacham? Even if he's such a great Talmid Chacham, that everybody needs him. There's no one who knows Torah like he does. It's forbidden to study halakha from him. Because the lack of character traits, or the negative character traits, influence and impact his halakhic worldview. The way his outlook on halakha, the way he rules halachot. It doesn't surprise me that certain rabbis, when you find their writings, you can already tell what kind of rabbi they were based on their tendency of ruling halakha. There are certain rabbis that the answer is always no. And in their life, they were strict like that. They were kabdanim. We don't call Shammai bad. We call him strict. He was not strict in the sense of lenient versus strict. Strict as in particular. Everything mattered. Everything was an issue. Kabdanut. It's not that he wouldn't convert those gerim that came to him, it's that he wasn't willing to let them denigrate the Torah by saying, teach me the whole Torah on one foot. Hillel also was bothered by it. But he said, this is only a childish request because the person doesn't know enough. But from there we learn a crucial law. The law is that when it comes to conversion, Batei Din are allowed to argue with each other. One can convert somebody that the other one would never convert. Because even if right now, look, those people that Hillel converted were not observant. Do you know that? They rejected the oral law. Imagine trying to get through a Bedin today.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even get through my Bedin if you rejected the oral law. But the Maaseh, the Rabbi says, how did Hillel do it? Because Hillel knew. Hillel knew that these people eventually were going to end up on the right path. So you see that a person at the time of conversion, at least according to Hillel, that's the halakha, doesn't have to be doing everything correctly. It's a mistake that a lot of us have. We're not Shammai. The story goes against Shammai. The rabbis say, "Kabdanuto shel Shammai biksha l'tzianu min ha'olam." The strictness, the particularity of Shammai almost took us out of this world. But the compassion of Hillel is what allowed us to join the Jewish people. Ultimately, these people became tzaddikim. The rabbis say that one day the three of them met at a hotel. They shared their stories with each other. They said, wow, look, if we left it up to Shammai, we wouldn't be Jewish today. And because of Hillel, look, we're tzaddikim today. You have to know that the people you study Torah from, anybody you study Torah from, myself included, we are painted, we view the world through a certain lens. And that lens hopefully doesn't get in the way of our truth, but it colors our truth. It influences our truth. If you see Tamnei Chamim, whose midot are bad, they're bad people, they're mean people, they're cruel people, don't expect that the Torah you're going to study from them is going to be compassionate and full of love and kindness. It's going to be cruel. There is such a thing as cruel Torah. There's such a thing as evil Torah. Absolutely. Look, I need to point fingers. How many people taught their people to do evil things in the names of Torah? It was because they didn't know Torah. They knew Torah very well. But they didn't know themselves. They didn't know themselves. Ultimately, that's why Chachamim say stay away, even if they're a Torah scholar. Knowledge is not enough. People have this attitude. It's an American attitude of it doesn't make a difference who a person is. They know their stuff. It's not true. Not according to Judaism. It doesn't work that way. It's just presentation. Not just presentation. The way a Talmid Chacham presents himself, by the way, is indicative if he's a Talmid Chacham or not. How do you know if someone's a Talmid Chacham? They have character traits. A lot. Internalized teaching. There are a lot of signs. The external signs.
Gentleness.
They don't scream when they speak. I've seen speakers. They look like raving lunatics.
Yeah. Too many.
Stand in front of relax. We're okay. We're all here listening to you. You don't have to. We're not going anywhere. They're crazy. They scream. When I was in Yeshiva in Baltimore, they scream. No, you're out. What happened? I was like, you get scared. What happened? You fall asleep in the middle of a dasha. You jump out of your chair. And it's just, he's speaking about the parasha. Okay. You're back. This is, our parents once had a speaker in the yeshiva. I was straight, said, get out of my yeshiva. You don't come to my yeshiva and scream at people. Speak like a human being. Divrei chachamim benachat nishmeim. The words of our sages are said benachat, pleasantly. If you look, there are writings that suggest that the way we found chachamim that were real, chachamim that were fake, is to look at the way they spoke. Certain chachamim, you could tell from the way they spoke, they weren't real chachamim. You could tell that they were counterfeits by the way they presented themselves, or didn't present themselves properly. There's certain midot, certain traits. Hillel and Shammai, there's a piyut. There's a piyut that we sing in the Sephardic community and the Hasidic community before Kiddush at the daytime. I don't say it because I have a problem with the sentence. It says there, Hashem, may my portion be, let me be like Hillel and not like Shammai. And I have a hard time with that. Because Shammai is not bad. Shammai is just different. I don't want to not be like Shammai. Let me be like somebody. Let me be like one of them, one of their shoes. Let me be something like the two of them. And I was at the house of a Vizhnitzer Chassid. He's the grandson of the Kalev Rebbe and the grandson of the Vizhnitzer Rebbe. I had a Shabbat meal with him. He's a good dear friend of mine. And he started singing the song, and he said, I wasn't singing. So he said, why are you not singing? I said, I have a hard time with these words. He said, why? We spoke. He took out a birkon from one of his grandparents, Hasidic Rebbe, who said that he has an original manuscript of this song. And there it says, let me be like Hillel and Shammai.
Oh, that's nice.
And when I started doing my research, I found some old Sephardic books like that also. A zealous person got involved, a misprint happened. Now you could sing the song. I really don't, but it's okay. Be like Hillel and Shammai. There's nothing innately wrong with Hillel or Shammai. It just,
The best of both.
their worldview, it changes the way they look at the world.
Now, you mentioned that if someone doesn't accept the oral law, that a beit din, including when you were of, when you convert them, did the Karaites do conversions?
The Karaites are Jewish.
Yes, so they do the conversions?
Do they do conversions?
Yeah.
Like, do they
I think
convert
they do.
people to
Yes, I
Judaism?
think they do.
Yeah?
Are they converted?
So I don't know.
And would
I
they
don't
be-
know what actively they do today. I know that today there are people who definitely were not born Karaites and today are Karaites.
I've met a few,
That's
yeah.
changing things a little bit for us because our attitude in the Jewish community is Karaites are Jewish. And ultimately, if they accept the Torah upon themselves and they join Am Yisrael, they don't need to go through any conversion process at all. But now that there are people that are identifying as Karaites who were not born into Karaite families, Karaite Jews were particular about their lineage, and particular about marriage, and particular about certain things. Now that that's changing, it's also going to change. When we say Karaites, we may not be meaning the same Karaites that Rabbi Gad Yosef referred to when he spoke about Karaites or anything like that.
But if the criteria for conversion are different, which a beit din in mainstream Judaism is accepting of the oral law, and there is no oral law to accept in Karaite version, would other Jews accept converted Karaites?
I know. Lo shayach. It's not. I'm on camera. It's not possible that three people who are Kareim would sit on a bedin, and their conversion would be valid according to halakha. Halakha. It's just not possible.
Would there even be such a thing as a beit din?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not familiar enough with the Kareim. I have contacts in the Kareim community. If you want, I'm happy to reach out and ask. But Lama said, it's an interesting.
Rochester.
It's an interesting question. Okay, let me finish this footnote here. וידוע שההלכה כבית הלל, we know the halakha is like בית הלל, וכן איתה בתוספתא, that's what the Tosefta says. שאם היו כולם עושים מצווה אחת, and if everybody is doing one מצווה, אחד מברך לכולם, everybody should do it together. וכן פסק מרן שולחן ערוך, מרן rules שולחן ערוך. ומבואר דסבירא ליה, דאפילו לביטול בית המדרש לא חששו כשיש בעורבם מלד מלך. That this idea of not interrupting the Beit HaMidrash is not as important as praying together in a group. מכל מקום כתבו כמה פוסקים שכשיש לחוש שאינם יודעים לכוון המשמיע והשומעים, עדיף שכל אחד ידבר לעצמו. But the poskim write that if a person is in a situation where either the blesser or the blessee, I don't know if that's right, the people blessing or listening to the blessing are not able to either say the blessing properly with kavanah to say it for other people, or to have kavanah that he's saying it for me, then everybody should make a blessing for themselves. And I mentioned to you that that's the only time I do kiddush on my own, is when I'm in a place where they offer me, and I know that the people saying kiddush, I'm not able to assume that they know, they mean well, but they don't know well. Let's read one more paragraph. No, we'll do one more paragraph, we'll be starting a new topic. So let's say that we're going to have to discuss in context of other things. Maybe I'll think about doing a shiur after we finish this chapter, a standalone shiur on this. Of all the places where one person should make a bracha for everybody, the Bekan Hamazon, the old Yemenite custom is everybody makes Bekan Hamazon by listening to one person. Why else would the host ask you, let's bless? Why didn't you ask permission to bless? Just to do a zimun, and we say, Baruch Shechad B'Rot V'Chainu. What happened now? Everyone's quiet. It used to be that one person made a bracha for everybody. The question is then going to be, In certain situations, if you know how to read for yourself, is it proper to make blessings for yourself or not? Which blessings fall into this category? Which do not? Sfirat HaOmer, what happens then? Everyone says their own blessing, but the Chazan says B'shut Morai V'Abotai, with your permission. So why is he saying B'shut if you're saying your own blessing? The answer I can give you is he says B'shut Morai V'Abotai because he's having in mind the people who already forgot to count the one night and they need you to make a blessing for them. So I understand. So then why in the first night does he say B'shut Morai V'Abotai? That's a good question. I don't have an answer for it. I mean, I have a few theories, but why? You find also by Halel. So by some Sephardic communities, B'shut Morai V'Abotai, we say a blessing on Halel and everyone considers and then we say it together. In many communities, and some North African communities and Ashkenazi communities for sure, the Chazan says bracha, everyone repeats the bracha and then goes into that together. So in which cases do we say you do say the bracha together and you don't say the bracha together? We have to figure that out. For right now, we're dealing with Hamotzi. Yes.